Super long story short, I have always been an entrepreneur since the time I could basically open my eyes. I started my first company when I was 16 years old. I got my career started actually on Wall Street in New York City at a very small investment bank. Hated the 80-hour work weeks and royally bombed the Series 7 exam, which is the exam that you need to pass in order to make a lot of money being in investment banking. And about 2 weeks after I bombed that exam, one of my clients who I was helping raise a Series A round for asked me to run her Facebook ad. So she gave me just $2,000 in ad spend. I turned that $2,000 in ad spend into $20,000 in collected revenue in 2 weeks. It's really important for everyone listening to really hear me when I say people don't buy from your business. They buy from the people that work at your business in B2B.
Yep.
Right? Your salesperson, the person posting on LinkedIn. Like, there's been 40 million studies done. The more photos of happy people smiling in your marketing assets in general, your website, your sales deck, your handouts at conferences, the more pictures of people smiling in your marketing assets, the better your marketing assets will do in a B2B landscape.
Welcome to The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle. Hey guys, before we jump into today's episode, we just wanted to take a really quick moment to thank one of our sponsors, Tala Offshore. For any businesses wanting to maximize their return on new hires, Tala offers seamless access to top-tier Filipino talent who are real employees hand-selected by the Tala team, slashing your staffing costs by up to 60% with onboarding in under a week. Visit talaoffshore.com to scale smarter, and thanks again to Tala for supporting The Business Game.
Hi everyone, and welcome to today's episode of The Business Game. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Today we have Marketing Max with us. Max is a guru at all things marketing. Max has worked with people like HubSpot, NodPod, Monday.com, amongst many others in his portfolio. And he also has just put out a new podcast called The 10-Minute Marketer, which we're going to go a bit more into throughout the episode. How are you, Max?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. Before we sort of jump into the questions, why don't you give all our listeners and viewers a quick rundown of who you are and what exactly you do?
Yeah, well, we'll probably get into some of this more on later down the episode, but super long story short, I have always been an entrepreneur since the time I could basically open my eyes. I started my first company when I was 16 years old. After I graduated college, I kind of thought the marriage of finance and like what you would call, I guess, venture capital or entrepreneurship was in the investment banking space. So I got my career started actually on Wall Street in New York City at a very small investment bank. Hated the 80-hour work weeks and royally bombed the Series 7 exam, which is the exam that you need to pass in order to make a lot of money being in investment banking. And about 2 weeks after I bombed that exam, one of my clients who I was helping raise a Series A round for asked me to run her Facebook ads. And this was back in 2016 when I had no experience running Facebook ads. Back then, Facebook ads were a fraction of the cost of what they are today. So she gave me just $2,000 in ad spend. I turned that $2,000 in ad spend into $20,000 in collected revenue in 2 weeks. Was immediately hooked on everything performance marketing. So then I started a performance marketing agency specializing in Facebook and Google ads. Super long story short, sold that to a private equity fund 4 years ago, and then started creating content online as Marketing Max. So now, yes, I don't love the guru word, but some people might call me a marketing content creator. I don't like the word influencer either, but guru, influencer, consultant. And then I have a handful of different marketing services that I help all sorts of really cool, fast-growing companies with to kind of use the way I view marketing in other businesses, kind of implant my strategies, my unique way of doing things into other businesses to help them grow faster. So forgive me if that's long-winded, but
that's absolutely fine. So one of the things I am most intrigued and honestly jealous of is you work 1 day a week while successfully doing over 1 million a year in profit with a 7-figure portfolio. Tell us the secrets, and who do I need to attach myself to be like that?
Yeah, well, it kind of happened during the pandemic. I realized that when I started working from home full time, my day would often have 3 or 4 calls in it.
Hmm.
And I would basically wake up every day and see, okay, I have a call at 9, I have a call at 10:30, and then I have a call at 4. And
Yep.
I would schedule my whole day around those calls that were just randomly sporadically put on my calendar. And I kind of did the math and I was like, wait, this is really only like a day's worth of calls.
Mm.
And I'm the founder, I'm the CEO. Ego aside, like people want to work with me and they want to speak with me. So why don't I just make a rule that I'm only taking calls 1 day a week?
Hmm.
And I thought about it and I was like, well, I like to travel. So, definitely don't want that to be on a Friday. Oftentimes there'll be a lot of work that comes out of the calls if I had it all on one day. So I don't want it to be on Thursday either. And I kind of picked Tuesday as the call day. And so for the last 3 to 4 years, I've only taken calls on Tuesdays.
Hmm.
Literally, like we're doing this on a Monday. You're my only call all day.
Yeah.
I went out and had lunch with my wife and my daughter. Worked out. I got like an hour's worth of laptop work in. So yeah, I mean, outside of Tuesdays, I really don't work much. I'm not really on my laptop. Maybe I'm answering a few Slack messages here and there or emails here and there, but I really don't work much outside of Tuesdays. And the secret to doing that is really having an amazing operations manager who can meet with every member of the team, identify the checklists that need to be done for every single action that could ever potentially happen in your business, and then having that person kind of be the implementer as well to make sure that everything is being followed on time, and all the checklists are being checked off, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a perfect concoction of books that I'd read, where I kind of implemented my favorite strategies from this one book called The Checklist Manifesto, another book called Freedom to Focus, which talks about the Eisenhower Matrix,
Hmm.
which is like things that are important and urgent versus things that are not important but urgent, things that are important and not urgent. Like it took me a little while to really get there, but yeah, I've been able to build some really lean, really amazing businesses that truly help our customers and clients. But I'm really not needed much beyond creating content and meeting with the team every Tuesday to make sure that we're meeting our KPIs and goals and solving any problems that need to happen. So all my friends ask me to write a book or come out with a course. I'm not a big course guy, but it's showing all of my different ways of doing it because there's a lot of nuances to it. Like the way I manage my inbox, I work off this thing called Inbox Zero, where my inbox is basically my to-do list. And so if I'm not going to do something today, I'll snooze it to the day that I want to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the long story.
So going back, you said, having a chief operator is key to the structure of how you're working.
Mhm.
What do you find? And I know like a lot of businesses quite often will run with their C-suite, but won't always have an operator in place. What do you find is that, other than obviously the main benefit for you is being 1 day a week where you're just doing calls? What other benefits are there for, teams, I guess, in businesses leading that are like looking down the path going, do we need an operator in?
I would argue every single company on planet Earth needs a full-time overseas operations manager.
Hmm.
I don't sell a placement service on that. Like I don't say that because I make money off that. Like I
Yep.
fundamentally believe, and I've had conversations with friends like, well, I run an e-commerce business. Like I don't need an operations manager. It's pretty simple. And then I start asking questions and uncovering, okay, how do you spend your day? How does your team spend their day? Do you
Mm.
have a process and system for that? And then I'm like, literally pull open your email inbox or pull open your Slack, read off some of the messages that your team is sending you. And if
Yeah.
they're asking you for approval on things, if they're asking you your opinion on how they should handle a particular email or a particular fire that they're responsible for pulling out, but they need your input or they want your help for it, that's where an operations manager steps in and says, "Oh, like this is the step-by-step process that should happen when this kind of trigger event happens."
Yeah.
And so it's really like the whole freaking business. They run the whole board, if you will. In some ways, it's almost like a COO, chief operating officer, or in some ways, it's like a CEO,
Yeah.
right? Like for a smaller company, the operations manager is literally running the business
Mm.
while the founder, maybe CEO, owner is really making sure that all of the things are running on time and that everyone has the resources they need and thinking about the future, how to get more business, how to retain the talent better and everything else. But in terms of the day-to-day step-by-step things that need to happen in order to keep the lights on in the business, keep the customers or clients happy, keep the refunds coming if it's an e-com business.
Yeah.
Keep the emails responding on time if it's a marketing agency, whatever it might be. I think every company on planet Earth should have an operations manager.
Yeah, look, I mean, I couldn't agree more, and that was put so well. So thank you. I know that was sort of off track to what we're going to talk about, but I was just interested in your stance on it.
Happy to chat about anything. It's the number one question I get when I speak at conferences, when people introduce me. Sometimes like, Max only works one day a week, so you can only book a call with him on Tuesday, but here's his calendar. And they're like, whoa, you only work? And so I like to give the disclaimer. I'm still on Slack. I'm still on email the rest of the
Yeah.
week, but I really am only in front of my laptop maybe a day and a half a week.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And really, when I guess you boil it down and pull it apart, a lot. I won't say all, because there's always, people outside the realm that work differently, but a lot the CEOs could do the same thing following these particular steps. And I guess some of the time a CEO or a founder or whoever it may be, there is that difficulty of letting go as well and having your operator run it, and therefore becomes the importance of getting the correct operator in. I want to jump in on social media because this is where you excel. Can you tell me, what role does social media play in your own business and the success of that? And would you recommend it as a vehicle to other founders across, I guess, any industry? And from there, how do you stand out from the noise that happens on social media? Because there's a lot of it.
I mean, I think any digital marketer will tell you, obviously, you need to be on social. You need to be doing things on social. But the way I view it is very simple, right? I like to talk with clients and at conferences and in my social content in first principles, in the most basic sense of marketing. And all marketing is getting other people's attention and converting that attention into dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your paths to get attention? You could run a billboard, right?
Yep.
You could put your website on a billboard, visit thispodcast.com, and then you get some attention that way. You could run a TV commercial, right? You could technically, I've done this for some of my early projects, like in my entrepreneur club in college. We used to stand in front of Penn Station in New York City and hand out flyers to promote our business.
Okay.
Literally. Like,
Yep.
you could stand on the corner and hand out a flyer saying, hey, you should check out my business. Where I live, like every other day, there's like a little business card in my car on my driveway. Someone's like freaking walking up to my driveway and putting a little business card saying, hey, if you need help with roofing or whatever, like,
Yeah.
those are all ways to get attention. But the best and easiest way to get attention, by far, hands down, is social.
Yep.
Is organic or paid social.
Yeah.
Could argue search, right? Google Ads.
I was going to say that. Yeah. What's the balance between the two? And to throw a spanner into the works, with your LLMs and OpenAI and whatnot, and people starting to use that as a search engine, how does that then come into play?
Yeah, so Google Ads and search in general will always be my first love when it comes to marketing. In the realm of marketing, like, my first campaign was Facebook ads, but the very first Google Ads campaign I ever launched, our ROI was like thousands of X. Like, we spent, I think, $7,000 in 1 year, and we made about $1.2 million
Wow.
in revenue, all on the back of Google Ads. And so what I tell people is, when Google Ads works, it's the greatest marketing strategy of all time.
Yeah.
Because it's intent based, right? If someone's Googling best business podcast, they have high intent to listen to an episode.
Yeah.
So it's not only that they're going to like click on the first thing or the second thing or the third thing that they see, but they also have intent. They're actually going to take that other step beyond just clicking, right? When you run an ad on Facebook or when you post a reel on Instagram, people are scrolling and looking at cat videos or pictures of models or their friends or their grandparents or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But so you're hoping that in that very moment, they might be interested in what you have to say. And if they're interested, maybe they'll click, but oftentimes, more often than not, literally 98% of the time, when they click, they're not going to take another action. There's not as much intent, because when they tapped Instagram or when they tapped Facebook or when they tapped TikTok, their intent was to be entertained. Their intent wasn't to go find something, take an action on some website or do something. They just literally went there to be entertained and get some dopamine. So with all of that said, every business on planet Earth, of course, needs to be on social. You asked how I use it in my business. I mean, Marketing Max, the brand, would have only existed with social. It would not have existed without social. Because if you go back 30 or 40 years, if I wanted to create a personal brand, I would need to find the gatekeepers of all of the TV commercials, or I guess all the TV stations. And
Yeah.
I need to convince them to either let me have a show, be a guest on the Johnny Carson show or one of the old, Jay Leno.
Yep.
Or I would have needed, like, there's this very famous story of this woman in LA who was just really, really, really rich, and she wanted to be a singer. And so she bought, like, for 3 months, a huge billboard campaign. Basically every billboard, this is like in the 80s, I think 1980
I
something.
I think I remember this. Like, remember hearing about this.
I forget her name, but it was like every billboard in Los Angeles for a few months had a picture of her in like a very skimpy pink outfit, and it just had her name. And next thing you know, all of these local clubs, like nightclubs and jazz lounges, are calling her, being like, "Hey, can you come sing for us?" And everyone wanted to see what that's about,
Mm.
right? Again, going back to how to get attention. I could have done that. I could have put like Marketing Max, right? Or if
Yep.
the internet was around, I could have put like go to marketingmax.com to learn marketing. But with social, I can get in front of people literally from my office here, my indoor
Yep.
outdoor workspace here. It might not be the best lighting for podcasts, but I can get in front of literally thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of people in 20 minutes.
Mhm.
And I can get analytics on them, right? Who they are,
Yeah.
what they do, how much time they spend on my website, what they're most likely to click on my website. And then I can start to optimize things. That's where I'm really good at. And that's like my favorite part about marketing is kind of the marriage of right brain and left brain. That's why I have right, left up here. This painting
I
from
was
one of my favorite
wondering what that
artists.
was.
It's a painting from one of my favorite artists named Amon. And I like the concept that marketing is all about right brain and left brain because you need to be creative,
Mhm.
right? When people are scrolling through Instagram nonstop, looking at pictures of cat or pictures of models and cat videos and everything else, you need to be entertaining enough
Yep.
and creative enough to stop the scroll and have them pay attention to you. But then in order to really succeed in marketing at scale, in order to provide the results that we provide for our clients over here at Marketing Max, like you have to be good at the analytics. You have to be good at the pattern spotting. You have to be good at the A/B testing in order to really, really, really take things to scale. And so it's the perfect combination of right brain and left brain, and that's what social media allows us to do, right? It allows us to do both of those things where I wouldn't have necessarily been able to A/B test a landing page, or I guess in the olden days, like a billboard
Yeah.
so much as I can today, and I wouldn't be able to scale it as easily. And with Facebook ads, I mean, if you have a credit card, hell, you could punch your credit card into Meta, and you could get in front of 3-4 million people tomorrow with an ad dragging people to your website. Like this, there's no better time in the history of the world to be an entrepreneur
True.
because of social and the paid side of it specifically.
Mm. Now, you worked with in a niche beauty brand campaign, and they were struggling to crack 2 times ROI, and you did that for them. Can you run us through how you did that? Because beauty, I feel like everyone is doing something in beauty. Like there's so many products out there. It's flooded. It's almost over marketed. How did you find the success in that?
Yeah, so again, going back to first principles, right? Marketing is all about getting attention and converting that attention into dollars. The next layer beyond that is who do you want the attention of, and what is it going to take for them to give you dollars? Right? So we talk a lot about ICP, ideal customer profile. And so what I used to do when I was in person in New York, when I was running my ad agency, 15 people, we'd all sit in a boardroom with a client, and we would literally say, okay, walk us through your perfect customer.
Mm-hmm.
Male, female, in this case, right? For a beauty brand, female. Okay,
Yep.
what's their name? Like if you literally had to give them a name, your perfect customer, what's their name? Okay, why is it Marissa?
Yep.
Why is it Janet? Or why is it Miriam? Right? Maybe it's an ethnic thing. Maybe it's where they're from. Maybe it's a religious thing. Like, why that? Okay, how much money does Marissa make? Right? What magazines does Marissa buy? And in the case of this one client, what we learned was they were trying to be the first kind of Gen Z, super clean beauty brand.
Mm-hmm.
And what we learned was everyone who visited their website, like 90% of the people who visited their website were Gen Z.
Yeah.
And the conversion rate of people who visited their website who were Gen Z was like 1.5%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But when we dug into the data, what we learned was the conversion rate of people who are 50 and older was like 8 or 9%.
Okay.
So it turned out that women who are above the age of 50 love the graphics and the brand aesthetics and what the brand stands for and the marketing that's going to Gen Z. But it just turns out that not only do they have a lot more money to spend because they're older,
That's right.
and so their average lifetime value is significantly higher, but they had more intent because that group of people, that ICP, that ideal customer profile target segment, that audience of people, they've grown up for 50 years, 60 years, right, with makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And Gen Z has a different relationship with makeup. So they don't have, like I talked about before with Google Ads, they don't have as much, or I should say the women over 50 who are visiting the website, they have more conviction to purchase because they have more money, and they've been trying different makeup things for 50 years, 60 years. So literally when we had that insight that we found out that the people over the age of 50 are spending a lot more money and converting a lot more, we literally went into Facebook ads and changed the targeting on Facebook and said, show these ads only to people who are above the age of 50. And we immediately, like 2 or 3x'd their return on ad spend.
Wow. So it really
Because,
is
again,
just
who you are targeting,
yeah.
and their conviction to spend money is everything.
Yep. Yeah. And then listening to your data as well. Because I know a lot of businesses don't necessarily, they see their data, but they're not listening to their data, like their metrics and whatnot. They're not really taking that in and listening to it. Hey, business game players, are you ready to level up your business? We are thrilled to announce our partnership with HubSpot, the ultimate all-in-one CRM platform. HubSpot helps you streamline marketing, sales, and customer service with powerful tools to grow your business faster. From lead generation to automation, it's got you covered. Visit HubSpot through our link below in the captions, or visit our website, thebusinessgamepodcast.com, to start for free and supercharge your success. Now, back to the game. Can I flip the switch a little bit? We have I just crack into it before you even say, sure, go. We have a lot of SaaS founders come on the show, a lot. I'm going to paint a picture for you. They've overhauled their website. They've got their Google ads running correctly. They've got their social ads out. They feel like they're doing all the right things. They're getting the traffic to their website, but they're not converting. What can they do that can change that?
So it's funny, the beginning part of my career, I worked a lot with e-com brands.
Mm-hmm.
And that story that whoever did your research team, spot on, they dug that up from somewhere.
That was me.
That was from my agency that I sold to a
Okay.
private equity fund. And I spent a lot of time on the e-com side of performance marketing. Now with Marketing Max, for whatever reason, a lot of SaaS and service businesses, a lot of B2B businesses have found their way to Marketing Max. So
Yeah.
most of my work now is specifically for marketing agencies and software businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, not to sound like a broken record here, but the difference between the two really comes down to that conviction level.
Yeah.
When I'm scrolling Instagram, if I'm a 50-year-old woman who's interested in makeup, it's not so crazy for me to be looking at a picture of my grandkids, looking at a picture of a model, looking at a picture of an influencer, looking at a video of an influencer I follow, and then seeing an ad for a makeup brand,
Yep.
finding something really cool about it and purchasing it right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
That's normal. It's not a crazy big decision. It's not even a big ask. Oftentimes, it'll be $50 at checkout, $30 at checkout, depending on who the client is or like what the product is that you're selling. In B2B, asking people to book a demo to learn about your software, or asking people to book a call with your sales team to learn about your marketing agency, or even asking people to punch in their credit card for a 14-day free trial is a much bigger ask than asking someone to spend $50 to try something, or even $150 to try some makeup, or we sold everything.
Mm-hmm.
Bondage lingerie, children's swim goggles, flowers, like 1-800-Flowers, like you name it.
Yeah.
We ran it. And so what I think gets lost a lot in B2B, and specifically for the SaaS people who are listening, is the middle part of the funnel,
Mm-hmm.
right? The middle part of the funnel, the education piece, you have to do a lot more educating. You have to do a lot more articulating why your product or service is even needed in the first place, because a lot of people aren't even problem aware. They don't recognize that they have the problem that
Yeah.
your solution sells,
Yep.
or that your solution provides, right? So you, number one, need to educate them on that. And then number two, you need to educate them on why now is the time to make it happen, why waiting is not an option. And then number three, why you're the best option if they've already identified the problem,
Mm-hmm.
if they've already decided now's the time to solve it. Then you need to explain to them why you're the person who's going to help them solve it, in their budget, on the timeline that they want, with the stipulations that they want.
Yeah.
And so that middle part of the funnel is where, everyone forgets to market, and people just think, oh, there's a handful of people walking around the internet today who need exactly what I'm selling. But what I ask people is or I ask potential clients this all the time, how many people in your target market are there, right? Of all the people you could potentially sell to, the decision makers, how many are there? Let's say there's 100,000. Okay. How many of those 100,000 HR professionals with, at a company with more than 5,000 employees, I'm just making up a number here, but like how many of
Yep.
those of your core ICP woke up this morning saying, I need to solve this problem? Like actually woke up and like, hey, I'm going to spend 30 minutes or I'm going to spend an hour today trying to find the software tool, the service provider that's going to solve that problem for you.
Yeah.
And the reality is it's probably very few out of the 100,000, even if that's your
Yep.
number, right? To use this fake example that we're coming up with. It's very, very, very few. So you can't send a cold email saying, hey, do you need more leads? Or hey, do you need this HR software that's going to help you, keep track of your global payroll better?
Mm.
You can't just cold email people out that expecting to book a million calls. You can't run a Facebook ad
Yeah.
that says, like one of our clients is a law firm. Like you can't run a Facebook ad that says, do you owe the IRS more than $25,000 in taxes?
Mm.
Expecting people to immediately just be like, yes, I do. I'm going to book a call right now.
Yep.
You need to educate people on the exact problem that they have and why you're uniquely qualified to do that. The best way to do that, I believe, is a newsletter.
Okay.
Because most entrepreneurs, they don't have time, they don't have energy, they don't have that combination of right brain, left brain, because they're entrepreneurs, they're busy building their business and putting out fires all day. They don't have the time to actually create enough social content.
Mm-hmm.
And with social content, even if you have 100,000 followers, if you have 2,000 followers, when you post it, roughly 10 to 30% of your audience will ever see your content. But that number is really closer to 10%, like across the board. And for some influencers, it's like 4%.
Yeah.
And that's like influencers who have a huge audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have, let's call it 10% with social, but you have upwards of 40 to 50% open rate with newsletters.
Yep.
And you have a longer content barometer, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Because people are spending much more time in their inbox, in email, thinking of a business-minded,
Yeah.
they're just thinking
Solutions and yeah.
exactly. And so what we've started to do, as I recognize that this being the biggest problem for most B2B businesses, software, SaaS, service, whatever it is, now we start writing a weekly newsletter for all of our clients to help build trust, stay top of mind, help
Mhm.
people identify when they do have that problem, and then say, oh, by the way, when you have that problem, we're the people to help you do it. And so that middle part of the funnel, not the top part where you're just trying to get in front of people for the first time,
Yep.
and not the bottom part where you're trying to get people on the phone to close them or trying to come up with some incentive to close them, but the middle part of the funnel that educates them on why they should trust you and why they should even spend 30 minutes listening to your sales pitch, aka demo, aka sales pitch,
Yep.
on the call. It's newsletters, period, end of story. And I've seen this literally hundreds of times where companies really, really, really struggle. They have a huge database in their HubSpot CRM or Salesforce CRM or Pipedrive CRM or Go High Level CRM or whatever it is. And they have a bunch of leads, but they're not doing anything with them,
Yeah.
right? Maybe they took a sales call, maybe they downloaded a lead magnet, but they're not doing anything in that middle part of the funnel to educate them on why they need to be purchasing from you, why they need to be booking a demo call with you, why they need to be starting a free trial on your platform. And so that middle part of the funnel is everything for SaaS and B2B. Forgive me if I went off on a tangent, but
No, I love it. I love it because, as I said, like the vast majority of our guests that come on and our listeners and stuff like that, they're SaaS CEOs or CFOs or CTOs or whatever it may be. And it's a question that comes up all the time. It's like we've done everything right, but we're just not converting from the website. And I always thought newsletters were sort of done and dusted, to be honest. Like it was sort of an older style of marketing. But as you were explaining it, the more it's clicking over in my brain, you're getting your target audience immediately. Like you're getting them. So what is then on the back of that? Is Google Ads even the correct way for a SaaS to market?
well, yeah. So to your point, right? Not only are you getting right in front of your core target audience with newsletters, but you're getting in front of them multiple times. It's the frequency that's the difference between e-com and B2B. And so there was a study done last year that was a newer version of a study done like in the 90s from Harvard. I was like, how many times does someone need to see or hear your brand before they decide if they're going to purchase your product or not?
Yeah.
And for products under, I think it was 100 or $200, they only need to see your product like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
But for products over $1,000, they need to see your product 12 times. They
Okay.
need to see your brand 12 times. They need to they need 12 touch points with you.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's not a question of getting in front of the right audience when it comes to newsletters. It's a question of how many times, like what's your strategy to get in front of them at least 12 times?
Mm.
And then to your point about Google Ads, absolutely Google Ads still work fantastic for top of funnel.
Yeah.
So like the best marketing strategy on planet Earth is to run a Google ad bidding on your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
The best strategy on planet Earth, hands down. So especially if you're a smaller fish,
Yeah.
right? If you are, a small company, if you're a small new CRM going after HubSpot, spending $2, $3, $5, $10, whatever it costs to make it so that when someone Googles HubSpot or even HubSpot alternative, you show up first. That's the first interaction they have with you.
Yeah.
That's more or less priceless, like truly, 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 truly priceless, right?
Yeah.
But then from there, what happens? Well, you spend all this money driving people to the website, and like 1 or 2 out of every 100 clicks that you pay for end up converting into a demo or converting into a call or converting into a free trial.
Mm.
Better yet, if you were to make it so that when they clicked on that ad and landed on a landing page and you had a soft pop-up or the landing page was all dedicated to either inviting them to subscribe to your newsletter or getting some sort of free lead magnet, some free ebook, right? Then you have their email, and that's touch point 1 in a 12 touch point
Process.
system that you need in order to even have a chance
Yeah.
of them considering buying you. So I think
Interesting.
Google Ads as top of funnel is brilliant, and I think it'll always, always, always work. But it's that middle part of the funnel where SaaS businesses, they just don't play. And a big reason of that is because the CMO role in every company is fired or let go way more often than every other role.
Mm.
Why is that? Because it's the only one that's truly performance-based. It's the only one that's truly treated like a sport. Did you win? Did you lose?
Yeah.
Right? What did you score in that quarter of the basketball game or football game? Did you win the quarter? Did you win the year? Right? And so what happens is because everyone's on all of these CMOs, they have to put together these slide decks every 90 days with, hey, here's Q1's results, and here's Q2 results, and here's Q3 results. And if they don't find results within 1 or 2 quarters, they're gone. They don't actually put strategies in place to get them to that magical 12th touch point.
Yeah.
So Google Ads all day. It's easy to get in front of your target customers for the first time. Even a cold email, like I was kind of ripping on before, saying it's not a great strategy. Sending a cold email could be great, but saying, hey, are you struggling with this today? Book a call right now. That's not going to work so well. Or start a free trial of my software. That's not going to work so well.
Yeah.
But if you start a conversation with them, if you invite them to a local event, if you ask them to listen to a podcast, literally like, hey, noticed you're a CMO, in the HR space, we have a SaaS that does this. Like, it just might be worth it for you to check out our podcast. I'm not asking you to book a call, like literally that. Put that in the copy. I'm not asking you to book a call. I'm not asking you to do anything other than like we're creating this content out there because we want to make it easier for HR professionals to whatever.
Yeah.
Then they start listening to the podcast. That's another way to get them to the 12th touch point. So you have the podcast, you have the newsletter, you have retargeting ads,
Yeah.
right? Then they follow you on LinkedIn. So you have LinkedIn content. You need a flywheel to get you to that 12th touch point.
And, with each touch point, I guess, becomes more and more trust in your brand, in your company, and what you'll have to offer. It's interesting, the psychology behind it all. Like when you really pull it apart and bring it down to psychology to how humans work, and what makes us tick and how we make decisions. It really is just all data in, data out, isn't it? Even with our own brains.
100%. Yeah, not just in marketing, but yeah.
Yeah. How critical is the solution of a bigger budget when trying to drive online campaigns? And is there any value left in placing budget back towards marketing in offline spaces? And is this more between a B2B or a B2C situation?
These days, post-COVID, nothing really beats in-person events, especially if you have a high LTV. So, if you sell $100 skincare products, you're not going to have a direct ROI on your investment of an in-person event. But reallocating some budget from your digital spend, if it's not working, to I just love dinners. Like invite 10 of your favorite clients or target customers to a really nice dinner, pay for it, have everyone just network and talk, and then at the beginning and the end say, hey, this is, we're so and so and we do X. If you want to learn more, have a conversation here. I've been invited to a handful of those. I've hosted a handful of those. Like that's amazing, truly, especially if your LTV is high, right? So if you're going to spend $5,000 to have 20 people at a table for that dinner, really nice dinner, wine, whatever, you get one contract for your SaaS business that's going to sign a $100,000 a year contract, like that more than pays for itself.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to reiterate again, that's only one touch point.
Yeah. So you've got to have those others to back you up, continue with the trust, keep them yourself at the forefront of their mind. And
exactly. Like that event might be worth 2 or 3 touch points because it's just such a high level of trust, like so high, like so crazy.
Yeah.
In person, one-on-one time, the phone's not out. There's no, you're not competing with cat videos and pictures of influencers and memes and everything else in the feed. Not to abuse that analogy, but like that's just how the brain works these days. That's how everything works.
Is.
Like the ROI on that might be great, but you still need multiple touch points.
Yeah. Yeah. You've mentioned influencers a couple of times. Not about influencers, but just how they work and whatnot. Is it still a valid choice of marketing going via an influencer? It is. Do you
going and buying an influencer,
like using an influencer for your product? I find that there's getting to be a little bit of influencer fatigue. I don't know how another way to put it, of people scrolling and just seeing influencers promote stuff they really don't give a shit about, and what they're doing. But on the flip side, what would be a good conversion from an influencer if they are still worth, say for a beauty product, going down that route?
Well, yeah, again, I think you have to figure out where the partnership with the influencer fits into the funnel. So are you partnering with an influencer because you want to reach their audience and their audience has never heard of you before?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's a very different set of KPIs and way to conclude if that marketing campaign worked well, if that influencer campaign worked well. Then if you were to say, oh no, we want to associate our brand with this influencer because it'll, to your point earlier, like you said, it'll help build the trust.
Yeah.
And as it pertains to e-com, maybe there's a little bit of fatigue, maybe, but not really, because when you find the right influencer and it's the right kind of audience product fit, sky's the limit. But specifically more for B2B, it's the wild west, super early days of influencer marketing and B2B. Like marketing max, quote unquote, right? I am an influencer in the B2B space.
Yeah.
Right. My main business after I sold my e-com ad agency was I started a newsletter. Now 150,000 people read the newsletter every single day. Founders,
Wow.
CEOs, entrepreneurs, CMOs, and we sell ads in the newsletter, right?
Yeah.
But on our rate card, beyond just buying ads to reach the Marketing Max audience of 150,000 people who read the newsletter every day, you can also partner with us for a social post on Twitter or a social post on Instagram or a social post on TikTok or a podcast or whatever it might be. You can partner with Marketing Max. And I can't tell you how many times after someone has partnered with us for something non-newsletter related, they come back and they're like, hey, what other influencers in the marketing space do
Yeah.
you know that you can connect me with? Because this worked so freaking well. Because remember, in
Yeah.
B2B, people buy from business. Or sorry, they buy from people.
Yep.
Like business is people. They buy from other people. And so when Marketing Max is recommending a product, which by the way, I only ever do if I actually use the thing.
Yeah, and
I
believe
truly
in it.
believe in them.
Yeah.
And believe in them. But it's really, 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 really important for everyone listening to really hear me when I say people don't buy from your business. They buy from the people that work at your business in B2B,
Yep.
right? Your salesperson, the person posting on LinkedIn. Like there's been 40 million studies done. The more photos of happy people smiling in your marketing assets in general, your website, your sales deck, your handouts at conferences, the more pictures of people smiling in your marketing assets, the better your marketing assets will do in a B2B landscape. Period. End of story. Like WeWork did this crazy study when they were first getting started well before the pandemic, when they were running ads and on their website, they were like, okay, do we get more people to book a tour if all of the pictures of one of our new spaces is empty and it's just a gorgeous space, or
Yeah.
people working? And every single time people working
Mm-hmm.
and people smiling beat it. And there's a billion other studies of people's even like someone's hand in a photo.
Yeah.
Like the more you can make it human, the better. That's why Progressive and Geico and
Yeah.
State Farm and all of these American insurance companies, that's why they all have these mascots. Flo from Progressive, Jake from State Farm,
Mm-hmm.
the Allstate insurance guy, like all of these people.
Okay.
They do it to humanize the brand to make it feel easier to work with them. I'm not necessarily working with State Farm. I'm working with Jake from State Farm.
Yeah. Okay. So while we're on the humanizing thing, and I know that I sent you like a framework of what we're going to talk about, and I've definitely gone off on tangents, and so I've blown that out of the water a bit. Sorry about that. I do these.
I can
things.
talk forever if you haven't been able to tell by now. I can talk forever about hopefully something that's
Same.
interesting.
I've
and
got to
relevant
sit
your
here and be
audience.
like,
Don't
"Hey,
worry.
Jamie, shut up!" Like,
No,
AI in marketing.
yeah.
We're talking about humanizing it, keeping it human, showing that human element in parts of, well, most parts of marketing, I guess. AI, I mean, it's changing how we do everything. What are you don't need to go in depth, I mean, feel free to, but what are the do's and don'ts of AI?
So early in my career, I think the kind of concept of marketing was throw as much shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's good, bad, ugly, just throw as much shit at the wall and see what sticks. And I think that will always be the case because A/B testing is a fundamental part of marketing, right? We need to test a lot of different ad creatives. We need to test a lot of different headlines and landing pages and everything else. But to your point, when it comes to blog writing, when it comes to captions, I think we're moving more towards the middle. I don't think we'll ever be at the point where we're the opposite of throw as much shit at the wall to see what sticks, but we're moving more in the middle where it's way easier for people to see when you've just had AI write stuff.
Yep.
For example, one of our clients, we sometimes use lead magnets to get people to sign up for a newsletter. So download our ebook about how to achieve XYZ result.
Yep.
And then every week we'll send you a tip to help you achieve XYZ result.
Mm-hmm.
One of our clients is like, okay, we're going to work on a lead magnet, 13 different ways to XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
And then like literally 10 minutes later, they sent us the lead magnet. And they're like, okay, lead magnet done. And I immediately knew it was AI, but I was like, okay, let me be patient. Maybe they trained a really good AI to write something for them or whatever.
Yep.
I go to read it and I just start screenshotting sentences and paragraphs back to them. I'm like, do you want your ideal target customer profile who's worth $100,000 a year ACV, annual contract value to you? Do you want your target ICP reading this sentence. Oh, what about this sentence? Oh, what about this paragraph? Like, this makes no sense. This doesn't tie back to what you're talking about at all.
Yeah.
There's actually a typo in this. And they were like, oh, we just had ChatGPT write it because ChatGPT's been writing all of our stuff. I'm like, well, here we are. This is why you're knocking on my door, because what you're doing now is not working.
Yeah.
And so I said, this is a good first pass, but you go on Upwork or hire a copywriter or something to turn this AI slop into actually valuable content.
Yeah.
Like actually valuable content that sounds like it was written from a human.
Yep. Yep. Do you think there's becoming almost a distrust, through lack of better word, of people seeing content and just being like, AI's just push this out? Like, this has just been a quick click and they've pushed it out. Do I trust it now because they're not actually working on their content, or what else aren't they working on? What else is AI doing? Do you reckon there's some kind of distrust in that?
I don't know if there's distrust, but kind of going back to my point about, early on it was throw as much shit at the wall and see what sticks. And I don't think we'll ever get to the other side of it.
Yep.
I think it's becoming increasingly more and more and more important to not just put out slop.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might say, oh, having a tweet, like the platform I spend the most amount of time on that I'm most obsessed with is Twitter by far. I have like 50,000 followers.
Me too.
Or anything else. Okay, well, we didn't.
I get it.
Before this, so we need to follow each other. But like, I'm just obsessed with Twitter, and I have so many people that tell me, I used to have a ghostwriter, but they were like $3,000 a month, and so now I just have ChatGPT write it. And my first answer is always, well, how long have you been doing it? I don't know, like a month. Well, how's it going? And every single time they're like, yeah, it's about the same or worse.
Yeah.
And so every time I say, well, what do you mean about the same? Like, let's pull up the stats and look at it. I'm a big numbers guy, right brain, left brain. I'm a big numbers guy. And I look at the stats. I'm like, actually, it's not the same. It's gotten worse every single freaking time.
Yeah.
And I say to them, posting a tweet that's very clearly written by AI, that really is not in your tone of voice, really not that valuable, for the first time maybe in the history of ever, having a C+ level tweet, you might as well just have no tweet. Because to your point, people are going to start unfollowing and they're going to say, okay, this guy's clearly just lazy, or gal, this lady's just lazy, or guy, whatever, whoever they are, this person's lazy, and they're just not, they're not doing it. They're not doing the work that it takes. They're not providing good enough value. They're giving me McDonald's when I really followed them because they used to give me, a Michelin star meal, right? Michelin star entertainment. So I think for the first time ever, I don't know how to say this. I should probably figure out a better way to say it. But for the first time ever, like, posting C+ level content, especially on Twitter and LinkedIn, will do more damage than it does good. Before, it just used to be shitty in the algorithm. 5 people will see it, and you don't get growth. You don't get likes. You don't get engagement. You don't get DMs of people saying, I want to work with you, whatever. That's fine. But now, to your point, I think there is starting to be a lack of trust from people who very clearly use AI.
Where do you see marketing going in the next 2 to 3 years? What do you reckon is going to change up? I mean, obviously, we've just spoken about AI. It's not going anywhere.
I think we're going to see a lot more slop in everything. I think we're going to see a lot more shitty ads. I think we're going to see a lot, like an increase in shitty content online. And, we write newsletters for like 50 companies every single week, all of our clients.
Wow.
I have a team of 6 full-time writers that are writing every single day for all of our clients.
Yeah.
And what I say is, the people who use AI to replace talent, those people are going to be the ones that are going to be out of business.
They're going to drop.
Unless it's like small, busy work that you could literally automate, like Zapier, right? Like before Zapier, people used to copy and paste records into things. Okay, that's fine. But in terms of copywriting, in terms of creative strategy, in terms of making a funny video, in terms of identifying who your core target ICP is, those people are not going to make it.
Yeah.
But the people who use AI as their assistant, as their intern, are the people that are going to make it. So we don't use AI to actually write the content. We use AI as our research assistant. We use it as our writing buddy to say, hey, here's the general topic. Or can you, number one question we get always is, how can you write in my industry? You don't know anything about healthcare, payroll reconciliation.
Yeah.
And so again, we use AI to train ourselves on the topic. We use AI to come up with the topic ideas. We kind of flesh it out. We go back to AI. We say, hey, can you give us like a table of contents or a summary of what the takeaway should be for this kind of thing for this audience? And then we go and write it. And that's why our open rates for all of our clients remain exceptionally, exceptionally high. Because again, we're not having AI replace the jobs. We're having AI as the research assistant.
Yep.
And everyone likes to joke. There's this one of the books to bring this conversation full circle that I read on my way to the 1 day work week that I have, or 1.5 day work week that I have, is this famous book by Tim Ferriss called 4 Hour Work Week. And he has a great quote in the 4 Hour Work Week saying, okay, in a perfect world, in 100 years, there's going to be like your job will basically be sitting in a factory with a dog with an on off switch for the machine, and the machine's going to do everything. Right. That will never be the case, even with AI.
Yeah.
That will never, ever, 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 ever be the case. And the prime example of that is airline pilots. I don't know if most people know this, but one of my good friends is an airline pilot, and I've learned a lot from him. Planes more or less fly themselves. Like
Yeah.
Tesla self-driving, like planes have been doing this for decades.
Yep.
They take off by themselves, they run the flight path by themselves, and they land by themselves. So why do we need pilots? We need pilots there for when things go wrong.
Yep.
That's the only reason there's a pilot in every single plane.
Yeah.
We need the pilots in there for when something goes wrong. It's the same thing with AI. We need someone there for when the prompt isn't exactly right, or the output isn't exactly right, or it doesn't have as much context as it needs to give the output that we need it to. So we need the human to feed it more context, but we don't know if it doesn't have that context without the human there to read the output.
Yeah.
So where is marketing going? I think marketing in a lot of ways will get easier because of AI. Again, the research, the ideation will all get easier. But I actually think execution of these marketing campaigns, of these marketing strategies is going to get 100 times harder. And I'm pumped. I'm so ready because what most people aren't doing is the execution. They're not putting in the work on the execution side of things. They're
Yeah.
solely having AI do something that Canva would do before or a copywriter would do before. They don't even read the output, and then they just send it all.
Yeah.
Or they kind of skim it, and that's it.
It's crazy. I'm excited. I'm scared about where we're going with AI. But I'm glad you said what you did, and I truly hope that a lot of C-suite leaders that sort of listen in don't just want output from their staff because there is now AI to be quick, 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 quick. You can now do 50 things instead of the 10 you used to be able to do in the same time period because the quality's not there, the human touch isn't there. The human brain is no longer in it, and you can tell. There is no doubt about it. You can tell. So I'm really glad you sort of went in depth on that because I think it's worth reminding people that it is an assistant. AI is there to assist us. It is not there to take over us. Like we still need the human brain behind it.
Yeah, I would just clarify. I think that's the case for marketing. I think there are
Yeah.
a lot of other roles where AI will actually replace 90%
Oh
of
yeah, like coding and stuff like that. Like it spits it out like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, or like the one that I'm obsessed with now is customer support. So one of our clients built an AI voice agent that handles inbound calls for energy companies. And so the idea is like if the power goes out in your neighborhood, there's a million people calling to wonder what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And there's in that very moment, that company can't staff up 50 people or 500 people to all start answering the phone.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I've seen a lot of use cases where AI has replaced huge call centers, huge customer support teams. But I think when it comes to marketing, sure, AI can help you write really good copy. It can help you write a really good blog post. It'll help you rank on social. But the strategy aspect of how that fits into the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel, I don't think will ever be replaced by AI. I mean, maybe one day when there's, what do they call it, AE or like the AIs can think for themselves, but
Oh
we're a
yeah.
long, long, long way to go to the point where that's actually affecting mainstream businesses.
Yeah. We're running out of time, and I want to spend some time talking about your new upcoming. Well, no, your podcast is out now, isn't it? The
It's out
10-minute
now.
marketer out now.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the title kind of gives it away, but let's get into it. Tell us what it's about.
So yeah, I mean, I've ran a podcast on and off for about a year and a half called the Marketing Max Show. And I really wanted to put the focus on Marketing Max because, like I said, 150,000 people read my newsletter every single day. A lot of people have questions. And so it was kind of an ask me anything thing, or like a Q&A, if you will, for a
Yep.
long time. And I realized, and through feedback that I got, that I'm really good. One of the few things I'm good at is answering marketing questions and giving marketing advice that's really simple, straightforward, and easy to implement, easy to understand, easy to use. If you're listening to this podcast already, whatever it is, almost an hour in, you probably think that, or you would have X'd out. Maybe not.
Nah,
Hopefully not.
definitely, yeah, nah. They're thinking everything you've said, just probably to echo what everyone else has said to you. Everything you have said has given me clarity and answers to things I've been wondering. And if I've been wondering it, so has everyone else. And it's
Thank you.
it's not in terms that I don't get it. Like, I understand what you're saying. So thank you. From me, thank you. Anyway, continue.
I'm happy to help one person, and that could be you. If there's other people listening and you get help, definitely reach out. Would love to hear from you. Like I said, my main platform is Marketing Max, but the podcast rebranding the 10-minute marketer is basically, I want to give the most straightforward, easy to implement, fun, bite-sized, insightful strategies, tactics that anyone can use to grow their business in a short format, because most people don't have an hour to sit and listen to a podcast. And if you have an hour to sit and listen to a podcast, maybe it's on a long drive, but marketing is changing so much. And so if there's a 10-minute nugget that you can listen to once or twice a week and then go implement that right away, I think that's more effective for people, especially since most of my audience are entrepreneurs and founders. They don't have time necessarily to not only listen to an hour, but more importantly, go execute a strategy that might be so complicated that it is an hour long. So I just wanted to reframe it. We've gotten a lot of really positive feedback. Everyone's saying that they really look forward to it. They turn on the notifications because it's only 10 minutes. They can listen to it while they're in the bathroom. They can listen to it on a quick drive to lunch. They can listen to it on their lunch break. And so it's been a really positive thing. We're only like 2 weeks into it, but I think we have 3 or 4 episodes live now. 10-minute marketer. It's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, of course. But it's really fun, and I just love helping people. You know, I'm no smarter than anyone listening. I'm no smarter than really anyone on the planet, but I've just done things maybe a few more steps ahead than you've done it. So if I can go a couple steps ahead, learn, synthesize all of my learnings in a way that'll make it a little bit easier or less expensive or more fun for you to do it, then I've served my purpose on this planet.
I love, Max, not only do I feel like, I would like to talk to you all day long, because I'm loving every second of this. Can I give you some rapid fire questions?
Shoot.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What's one marketing tactic you think is overrated right now?
Ooh, overrated. I always get the question underrated. One overrated marketing tactic. I hate this cop out answer, but like all marketing tactics work. Everything works if you give it enough
They
time and
do.
try enough.
It's like using the correct ingredients for a good, pie or something. It works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you have the recipe, it's just a matter of finding the right ingredients or changing the recipe to make it exactly the way that you want it to be effective. You know, I can sometimes rip on cold email or other strategies. That stuff can work. It's just really hard to scale. So I think maybe then I would say the strategy that's overrated right now is trying to be everywhere all at once. As much as I talk about 12 touch points and having this flywheel and being everywhere, you don't want to do that and sacrifice the quality.
Yeah.
And so it's better to be in, I'd say, 2 or 3 places with A+ content, A+ value, than being in 10 places with C+ content, C+ value.
So this has gone off track again, but from that, I'm so sorry. This is why I'm on a podcast, because I can't shut up. If you've got a business that is on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of the places, and they're excelling at some and not others, should they drop the others?
I mean, generically, yes, to refocus the resources, whether it's time, energy, or money that you're spending on the ones that aren't working, to double down on the ones that are working. Generically, the answer is yes. On a case by case basis, it really depends on where your target audience is. And
Yep.
so, if you are in e-com and you sell makeup, right? You got to be on Instagram and you got to be on YouTube. You got to
Yep.
be doing YouTube tutorials. You got to be explaining why, like videos of the founder explaining why this works or why this is cleaner or how to make your eye shadow do certain effects or whatever it is, right? You have to be in those two places.
I love a man trying to use makeup.
You can tell I'm stumbling through it. I don't mean I obviously not mansplaining here. Like I don't know. But you brought up the example of our
I did.
client, the Gen Z cosmetic brand. So I'm sticking with that. Forgive me, please. But but generically, the answer is yes. Like you're much better off being on 2 or 3 platforms. Now, again, it's nuanced for each company, for each situation, depending on who your target ICP is, but also, repurposing a TikTok to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, that's pretty low lift, and you could get away with maybe creating like content that's an A or even A minus on TikTok. That might be a B minus on Instagram, but at least like so long as you're not creating C plus content, anything like 3.0 and above.
Yeah.
I had a terrible GPA in college. That's why I like sometimes using those analogies. But yeah, I mean, it really comes down to like where your target audience is, how much resources you have to really learn that platform. Because
Yep.
you could create a TikTok, right? It's the same format, same style, same general kind of things work on TikTok as they do on Instagram. But the zeitgeist is very different on Instagram. The zeitgeist is very different on TikTok. It's very different on YouTube. And so something that's trending on TikTok might not make its way to Instagram for a week or two. And so
Yeah.
you post that thing that's trending on TikTok this week, it goes on Instagram, it flops, but if you reposted it 2 weeks later, you would suddenly get way better results because you didn't understand or you didn't track the zeitgeist of that particular thing.
Yeah. Makes sense. Love it. Okay, back to rapid fire, and I will make them rapid. If you could only use one marketing channel, for the next 12 months, which one are you picking?
I mean, I'm picking newsletter just because I've played the long game to get to the 12 touch points. So I have a ton of people that have just been nurtured or will continue to be nurtured for the next 12 months in my newsletter funnel. I think newsletters, again, are the most underrated thing on planet Earth. With that said, it really depends on the product or service. But for me, like, it's funny. I actually ended up running Facebook ads to promote my newsletter service. And I tested just a regular book a call funnel. Hey, if you're driving a bunch of traffic to your website, but you're struggling to get those people to book a sales call with you or start a free trial or book a demo or whatever it is, you need a newsletter. Here are 3 reasons why. And we got decent results, but I realized the close rate of people who subscribe to my own newsletter see my content about how important 12 touch points are, not just via newsletters, but via everything else, right? Retargeting Facebook ads and podcasts and everything else. By the time they show up to a call, having read my newsletter for a week, a month, a year, their close rate's significantly higher than if I just ran a Facebook ad because they're like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is interesting. This might be the one thing that might solve my silver bullet now. And so I just think the more you can build trust with the target audience, the better. And the best way to do that is newsletters, period, end of story.
I love how you ended that with period. I'm sorry. You're so real. You're so real. It's fantastic. Okay, I got one more. What's one common? Oh wow. Apparently, I've forgotten English. What's a common marketing mistake you see brands make all the time?
I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but and it has nothing to do with newsletters, just retargeting. There's tons of people that visit on their website. They don't take an action and they have no other strategy to get back in touch with that person. The old famous saying, 2 in the hand is worth, or 1 in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like you're better off closing someone who knows you exist and getting someone to do what you want them to do if they know from a marketing and sales perspective, if they know you exist, than someone who's never freaking heard of you before. So a simple $5 a day retargeting ad on Meta, making it so that anytime someone visits your website, the next time they open up Instagram or Facebook or now Threads or anything else, like they see a case study, they see a testimonial, they see how you can help them. Okay, now they're one step closer to having enough trust with you to book that sales call. And it works in ecom too, right? Ecom's definitely more impulse buy, as we've talked about. $150 is much less of a commitment for a lot of people than booking a sales call, starting a free trial of something. But it's just the middle part of the funnel, no matter what the strategy is: podcasts, newsletters, retargeting ads, like what my friend calls BOPA, borrowing other people's audiences. So if you have like a tangentially related audience, having as someone else in your niche, doing a podcast together, posting content together, doing a webinar together. Webinar is another great middle of the funnel tactic.
Love it. Max, has been an absolute stinking pleasure having you on. I've loved it, loved it, loved it. Thank you so much. So just to wrap it up, Marketing Max, give us your last spiel on where to find you, how to reach you. I will have all your links to your podcast, your website, everything down below. But from the horse's mouth, give us one last elevator pitch.
Yeah, Marketing Max. The tagline on my website is your humble marketing guru, even though I said I don't like that name. That's why I use the word humble. You can find me on marketingmax.com. If you have questions, the easiest place to reach me is DMs on Twitter at Marketing Max. I respond there oftentimes faster than I do on text, even with my friends. And check out the podcast. I'm really hyped on it. I think the new format's fantastic. It's really helping a lot of people. We're really breaking down complex marketing strategies, making them bite-sized that you can implement in 10 minutes. So 10-minute marketer, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Thank you for having me on.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we will chat to you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks, Max.
To help support our continued mission to provide free, best-in-class advice from the world's most compelling business leaders, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss an episode. See you on Saturday.
Thanks for tuning into The Business Game. If you like what you've heard, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to stay connected. A big thank you to our major sponsor, Tala, for powering today's episode. Join us again on the next episode of The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle.